Mapayapang hapon Pilipinas! Ito po ang inyong balerina ng bayan, si Lisa Macuja Elizalde na bumabati sa lahat ng nakikinig sa DZRH Radio at sa mga nanonood sa DZRH TV. Lalo na sa ating mga kasamahang alagad ng sining at kultura sa buong bansa. Sa mundo ng musika, ang bawat tagumpay ay bunga ng dedikasyon, tiyaga at walang sawang pagsasanay. Ang bawat himig at kumpas ay may kwento ng pagpupursigi. Mga araw na walang pahinga, paulit-ulit na pag-eensayo at minsan ang kasama din ang kalungkutang dulot ng mapalayo sa mga mahal sa buhay. Sabi nga nila, some days can feel like a perfect symphony while others seem like a broken melody. But true artists keep on going and finding the right notes even in the midst of their struggles. Para sa kanila, ang sining ay hindi lamang isang kabanata ng buhay, kundi isang lifetime commitment to turn passion into purpose, setbacks into strength, and practice into excellence. Kaya't huwag kayong aalis sa hapong ito, samahan ninyo kami sa isang masayang kwentuhan about the joys and challenges of being a musical artist, kasama ang prize-winning Filipino pianist na si Mariel Ilusorio. Magbabalik po kami pagkatapos ng ilang paalala.
Programang hatid ay sining at kulturang para sa lahat. Magbabalik ang Art to Art.
Tinesting, sinuri, siniyasan. Ang resulta? Super effective ang Shield sa pagpatay ng bakterya at virus. Shield Antibacterial Soap. Believe ang mga eksperto sa Philippine Nurses Association. At si Mami.
Tiwala ako sa Shield.
Shield Antibacterial Soap. Napatunayang mabisa. Ang mga nurse, tiwala.
Hello, Washi! Laundry day na naman!
Yay! Anong meron?
Mancha ng chocolate, putik, may libag pa.
Kaya natin yan! With Pride Washing Machine Detergent, may triple stain-away formula. Tanggal ang makapit, madikit, at malupit na dumit mancha. Kaya easy-easy ang labada.
Mula noon hanggang ngayon.
All you need is pride. All you need is pride. ACS.
Usapang sining at kultura para sa lahat. Art to Art.
Nandito pa rin tayo sa Art to Art at kasama natin sa hapong ito ang premyadong Filipino pianist na si Mariel Ilusorio. Magandang hapon sa inyo, Mariel, and welcome to Art to Art.
Good afternoon. It's very, very nice to be here.
It's your first time in our program,
Yes.
no? Okay,
Yes.
so wow. Let's start from the very beginning. So, gaano kaaga ka naakit sa mundo ng musika and why did you choose to learn the piano?
I started when I was 8 years old,
Aha.
and I didn't come from a musical family. So my mom just had me take lessons of all sorts. Like I took horseback riding and ballet.
Ah, okay.
And piano and Hawaiian.
Yeah.
So they were all part of my hobbies as a child.
Parang extracurricular
Extracurriculars,
activities.
yes,
Okay,
yes.
okay.
Pero piano became more in the forefront, and when I started piano, then everything else was set aside.
I see. So, tell us about your early experiences with your very first piano teacher. Who was your first piano teacher at anong mga lifelong lessons ang naiwan niya sa iyo?
Actually, I had a lot of piano teachers while
okay.
while growing up. My first was Marivic Dino. She was a family friend, and we had an upright piano at home. And so she just taught me basic things of how to read notes. And then I switched to Marieta Baja from UST. And I became more serious then. That's the first time that I joined the NAMSIA competition. After which I transferred to Stella Brimo, who I was with. She was my main teacher here in the Philippines before she left for Canada, and at the same time I left for New York. So Mrs. Brimo was the one who really made my passion grow because she was such a dedicated teacher. She was very generous, and she treated me like her own daughter. And I saw, she became like my role model of living a very simple life as a dedicated teacher and musician.
Okay. So, you left for abroad. You mentioned you were a scholar, nakapag-aral ka sa Juilliard School sa
Yes.
New York and the Oberlin Conservatory of Music in the United States as well.
Yes.
And then, sa Germany naman, sa State Academy of Music in Hanover.
Yes.
So, what was the most challenging part of being a student/musician abroad?
Well, it was very challenging to leave home. My family wanted me to do business instead. So I think that was the biggest challenge for me, was to prove that I would really go after my own dreams, despite the differences of opinion.
I can so relate.
Really?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I also started at the age of 8, 9 in ballet. And I
Yes.
also did piano lessons.
Wow.
Tapos nung naging serious yung ballet ko, nawala yung piano. Parang,
Yes.
yeah, very, very similar. Oo.
So I went through my studies in the US, kind of always fighting to prove that I can be independent and I can do it on my own and go through scholarships. And I lived a very, very simple life. No material luxuries at all. And really just proving that I could support myself. At the same time, still developing as a musician as well.
And what were the rewards of staying abroad and studying abroad?
Oh, it's really a very different exposure to life of actually being on your own and meeting so many people, so many cultures. Really being independent and finding your own voice outside of your own country, your own family. Of course, here I lived a very, very sheltered life. And then suddenly, you're abroad. Hindi ka na maka-relate sa mga things dito sa Pilipinas. Sometimes you're building your own identity, your own individuality. But it's also very challenging because you see your core growing and developing.
Yeah. So, balita namin, veterano ka ng mga piano competitions. You mentioned NAMSIA earlier. In your student days, sa dami ng sinalihan mo, may isang performance ba na hindi mo makakalimutan? You won't forget this competition?
I joined almost all the competitions I could join
Yeah.
while I was here in the Philippines. And then I went to the US. I was new. And I felt like very, very small compared to all the people in Juilliard. And I joined my first competition there, concerto competition. Everybody had to play the same piece. And we were like 20. And I thought, okay, I'll just do my best, but no expectation whatsoever. But I really wanted to give it my all. And somehow, by luck or by fate, I won the competition. So that was something very, very memorable. Positive and negative, because I couldn't believe that I won it.
How
And
old were you at that time?
I was 15.
Wow.
But it also put a lot of pressure on me, that it was my first competition abroad, and it was a victory. So that's very memorable
Parang,
in
where
many
do
ways.
you go from there, no? Kasi nga, nanalo ka ng, was it the top prize? Dun sa
Yes.
competition na yun,
Yes,
no?
so I got to
Oo,
play with the
okay.
orchestra
Wow.
as a result. But it also makes me question the value of competitions, because I mean it's just a judgment for that occasion. So you're not necessarily, it's not about being the best or who's better, really. It's very subjective, and it's all a lifelong journey.
Yes.
So there can be winners and losers, but sometimes the losers come out winners later on. And
Well, I think in all competitions naman, especially competitions for the performing arts.
Yes.
Any competition that you join, whether you win or lose, you already win because of the just the
True.
experiences, the learning experience of preparing
True.
for that event, for that competition.
Yes.
Kasi marami ding, again, I can relate, there's so many ballet competitions.
Yes.
And every time you join a ballet competition, again, it's an experience that you learn from,
Yes.
which eventually, win or lose, whether you have a medal or not, it really helps you in your career,
Yes.
for the future.
I don't like the term competition so much. I mean,
Yeah.
even like when I win, I feel like, oh, but then somebody had to lose, or or vice versa. So
Pero true, sinabi mo nga, it's very subjective. Art is very subjective.
but you do it to move forward and to
Yes.
progress. It's the most
Yes.
important thing. It's the experience of what you learn, how you
Yes.
grow, how you expand yourself and improve your skills, and that's really the most
Yeah. And
important thing.
it's a short-term goal that gives you direction
Yes.
towards the next step. No?
Yes.
Okay. Well, so you performed as a soloist in numerous concerts abroad as well as in outreach tours dito naman sa Pilipinas. Anong mga naobserbahan mong cultural differences sa pagdating sa appreciation ng classical music?
Oh, abroad, the tradition is there. It's really they've grown up with it, so there's a big audience for classical music. And here, of course, we have more our popular music. But I think the Filipinos are also very open, but they need to be exposed. And it's so touching to be able to perform here and bring something new and bring people to discover the magic of classical music, which I think everybody deserves. So it's very different to play classical music here.
Yeah. Why is it difficult to play classical music here? Is it because kailangan ng maraming explanation yung performance?
It's not familiar
Yeah.
to the people. They didn't grow up with it. It's not in our culture. And it requires a lot of concentration. So if you compare it to pop music, that is very repetitive, very easy to listen to. You can have it in the background. There's a very steady beat. It's simple enough. But the classical music requires more intellect, more depth, more analytical thinking, maybe. But at the same time, it's a lot more rewarding and so much beauty
Yeah.
in it.
Yeah.
Really,
that's
we can feel so much beauty in the world from the past,
Yeah.
from centuries ago that has been carried because of the music. It's just continuing.
Yeah. I've been to many classical concerts, musical concerts here. And I think one thing na naobserbahan ko is yung audience, parang hindi nila alam kung kailan papalakpak. They don't know when we're supposed to clap.
Yes.
Kasi I know that during a concerto, for example, you're not supposed to clap in between, no? Pero sometimes pag tigil ng music, palakpakan. How do you deal with an audience like that?
Actually, personally, that doesn't bother me so much because I feel it's nice that they appreciate it.
Yes.
So I think it's not a problem.
So it
for
doesn't
me.
disrupt naman.
No, it used to. It used to before because syempre you're coming from overseas where there's that standard, and then you come here and you think, ano ba yan? Why are they clapping?
Yeah.
You know? But then you think you just adjust,
Yes,
and
yes.
you're actually appreciative
Yeah.
that they appreciate the music, and it doesn't bother me. Maybe what will bother me more now are people who talk or cell phones ringing.
Yeah, cell phones ringing.
Sometimes we have like a very, very loud aircon because I'm very sensitive when I perform. So I hear like all the little things going on. So those kinds of distractions, which can also happen abroad,
Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, maybe all the videos
Yes,
when
oh.
you're performing. Yeah, that can be a little bit distracting. But I think there are distractions everywhere. I remember I played in Germany and this girl in the front row, she was doing this the whole time, and I could see it in the corner of my eye.
Moving with the beat.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, okay, I gotta shut that off.
Yeah.
So, but the clapping in between movements. Actually, parang it makes me excited you know, or kunyari, some pieces, they sound like they're about to really finish, but they're not yet finished. And then they clap, and I'm like, gotcha. Not yet finished.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the effect that the composers wanted to.
Yeah. Okay. So you've played many Filipino music. Who are your favorite Filipino composers?
Abelardo, Buen Camino, Lucio San Pedro, Agot Espino is one of my favorites. He's a wonderful musician.
And I'm sure you've played Filipino music on the international stage as
that's
no?
very nice.
So
That's
ano
very
yung-
nice to do.
Yeah, ano yung pakiramdam mo when you're
it's-
able to perform
I'm
that?
so excited
Yeah.
when I can play Filipino music and really share, especially like I spent 26 years abroad. So I feel like there was a time I felt like I could be a better Filipino by living abroad because I could somehow represent my country and share my music. And that was the best way to be a Filipino, is to share the Filipino music to audiences and international audience. And they know more about the culture and our country.
Yeah.
A new way of thinking about our country.
Ang sarap ng pakiramdam, no, when you're representing the Philippines.
Yes.
Yeah, abroad. Well, marami pa po tayong pag-uusapan kasama ang classical pianist na si Mariel Ilusorio. Dito pa rin sa Art to Art, magbabalik po kami pagkatapos ng ilang paalala.
Programang hatid ay sining at kulturang para sa lahat. Magbabalik ang Art to Art. Schedule ng mga inaabangang konsyerto. Update sa mga magagandang panoorin sa mga tanghalan at teatro. Narito na ang Art to Art Calendar.
Narito ang ating arts calendar. Sa musika, inihahandog ng UP Symphony Orchestra ang By Her Hand sa April 11, alas 7 ng gabi sa UP Theater, UP Diliman, Quezon City. Sa pamumuno ni Maestra Noemi Binag, ang grupo ay tutugtog ng mga obra ni na national artist Lucrecia Casilag, Amy Beach, Florence Price, Joan Tower, Kat Strangco at Cecile Chaminade. Samantala, inaanyayahan ng UPSO ang mga nais lumahok sa Usbungan, a festival for emerging composers and music leaders na gaganapin sa Mayo. Ito ay pagkakataon na matugtog ng isang orchestra ang mga piyesa ng bagong composers at mapaghusay ng mga aspiring conductors ang kanilang sining. Bumisita sa mga social media accounts ng UPSO para sa karagdagang detalye. Bilang bahagi ng kanilang Thursday evening concert series, inihahandog ng UP College of Music at ang Department of Winds and Percussion ang 2021, an exploration of 20th and 21st century flute music sa April 10, alas 6 ng gabi sa mini hall ng kolehiyo. Tampok sa libreng palabas si Crystal Miller Rose, Rodis Concepcion. Kabilang sa mga collaborating artists sina Leif Garrett Concepcion sa clarinet, Joshua Agapito, Carmela Casas, Katrina Nicole Derrama, Jubilee Gonzalvo at Andre Mercurio sa flute at Michela Nicolasora sa piano. Sa sining visual, bilang pagdiriwang ng kanilang 125th anniversary, inihahandog ng Manila Bulletin ang exhibit na Hatch 2025 Emergence. Magbubukas sa April 9 sa Manila Hotel. Ito ay nagtatampok sa mga obra ng Filipino street artists at toy designers na nilapat sa mga acrylic eggs. Kasama dito sina Quicks, Egg Fiasco, Jade Suwayan, Trip 63, Creon Chicken, Blick, XLD Manila, Distort Monsters, Ang Guerrilla, Wesley Valenzuela, Isabel Francisco, Lian Steffi Lim, at Reen Barrera.
Tinesting, sinuri, siniyasan. Ang resulta? Super effective ang Shield sa pagpatay ng bakterya at virus. Shield Antibacterial Soap. Believe ang mga eksperto sa Philippine Nurses Association. At si Mami.
Tiwala ako sa Shield.
Shield Antibacterial Soap. Napatunayang mabisa. Ang mga nurse, tiwala.
Hello, Washi! Laundry day na naman!
Yay! Anong meron?
Mancha ng chocolate, putik, may libag pa!
Kaya natin yan! With Pride Washing Machine Detergent, may triple stain-away formula. Tanggal ang makapit, madikit, at madupit na tumitmantsa. Kaya easy-easy ang labada.
Mula noon hanggang ngayon!
All you need is pride. All you need is pride.
Usapang sining at kultura para sa lahat. Art to Art.
Andito pa rin tayo sa Art to Art at kasama pa rin natin ang prize-winning Filipino pianist and music educator na si Mariel Ilusorio. That was a very brief clip that we just watched. Can you tell us where and when was that performance?
This was actually a recording made at the Metropolitan Theater with the Philippine Philharmonic Orchestra with Professor Hermie Ranera conducting. And this was around 2021 or 2022 during the pandemic. The president of CCP asked me to do this recording with them. And it's nice because I didn't know what to record during this time, and I wanted to go back to my childhood, and this is the very first piano concerto that I learned.
I see.
And I think I performed it with the Philippine Philharmonic String Ensemble. I was 11 in PCI Bank. And then, when I went to the recording, there was a violinist who approached me and said, "Didn't you play this in PCI Bank?" And I was like, "Yes, how do you know that?" He said, "I played with you." I was like,
wow.
"No way."
Oh,
That was like 1985.
Yes, yes.
Imagine,
Okay,
after so
all
many
right.
years.
Yeah, yeah.
So it was quite exciting.
It's always nice to revisit, no?
Yes.
Pieces.
I try to do that because I feel like there's a purity in our childhood, and then we go through so much drama in our lives, and then to go back to how it feels as a child, like to reconnect and try to remember how you were when you were playing these pieces the very, very first time, you know, and it grows on you. Music grows on you.
Yes,
So
yes, that's true. That's true.
I hope this was better than when I was 11. But in a way, in some ways, more mature. But then, you know, when you're a child, everything is so much easier. You don't think that anything is hard. So there's that freshness. There's that innocence and lack of worry or overthinking also. So it's nice balance.
Wonderful. And I'm pretty sure during the pandemic, it was also very inspiring to be able to do that.
Yes.
And yeah, anyway, that was a difficult time for all of us. Let us move on. Okay, so we heard that you also have a strong passion for chamber music. Can you explain to our viewers and listeners first kung ano ang ibig sabihin ng chamber music at paano ito naiiba sa orchestra music?
Chamber music is playing with other people. It can be just with one other person or pwedeng with 10 people. Being a soloist in the orchestra, you're still a soloist. But in chamber music, equal kayong lahat. Partners kayong lahat. And that's something very exciting for me. I did it a lot in Germany. And it's a different way to communicate and to connect with different musicians and to present music as a group to the public. And it's very intimate music. And centuries ago, they would perform it in homes, in salons. And it was something that was not bonga, like for the big stage. Now we can play it also in the biggest concert halls because it's music that's very substantial and profound as well. But there's that intimate part which you don't have in an orchestra. So they even have like concertos arranged for string quartet or small groups. So you see it in a different way. And I like this kind of communication because I'm actually naturally more introverted.
Yeah.
And so I like the small groups a lot and connecting with fewer people
Yeah.
at a time. So I think bagay na bagay yung chamber music sa akin. In fact, maybe at this point in my life, more than being a soloist. So I like being with other people and especially like performing with students who are very talented and who are going to make a career in music. So that's very inspiring to push them and to support them and encourage them. And then to play with different soloists from different countries as well. And
Yeah.
you learn from each other in that way. So it just becomes a lot more personal. So
Yeah.
you have the music, you have the composer, and then you have people with different backgrounds, different ages. My favorite chamber music partner in South Africa was like 30 years my senior to me, and you can learn so much from them, but you can also play with somebody 30 years younger, and you also learn from them. So it's just a wonderful experience altogether. You can also see, like, playing with the orchestra, it can also be chamber music mindset in that way. So it really depends on the way you see things, and
Yeah,
you want to
that's true.
present things as well. But you can think of being a soloist in an orchestra as a kind of bigger chamber music.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, but you mentioned you were abroad for you lived abroad for 26 years.
Yes.
You lived in Germany and then tumira ka din sa South Africa.
Nasa
You
US ako
mentioned
ng
also?
6 years.
Okay.
Tapos sa Germany ng 10 years. Tapos sa South Africa ng 9 years.
Wow.
Tapos bumalik ako dito.
But when you were in South Africa, you started a local competition
Yes.
that it has now become a national music competition.
Yes.
So, can you tell us more about that?
I lived in a very small town, and actually one of my dreams was one day to make a competition in the name of my piano teacher here, Stella Brimo. So I lived in Grahamstown, university town, and I thought, I'm going to start now. So I called it the Rising Stars because of Stella.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was very small. But then after 2 years, I think we thought, oh, let's make it the Eastern Cape, the province. And then after, it became national na. So at that point, I came back here. And so I think, I'm not sure if it's still going on now, but it went on for a few more years as a national competition.
Wow.
So it's very nice to be able to start something like that. And that's the
Yes.
difference between living in South Africa or the Philippines versus in Germany or in Europe, where everything is already established. And it's much easier to be able to start something new and make a bigger difference somewhere else.
So it's still a very active competition now.
I am not sure anymore if it
Okay.
still exists now. I've lost touch with the people a bit.
So, but what brought you back to Manila then, after living abroad for so many years?
My parents, my family roots. I wanted my daughter to learn about Filipino culture because she was born in South Africa. So she was 8 when we came back. Yes. So there were deaths in the family. And I thought, wow, I'm so far away from home. And it's really about time to come back here. It was with resistance because I actually really enjoyed the anonymity of living overseas. I was just a simple musician. Nobody knew anything about me, about my background. I wasn't the daughter of so-and-so or the granddaughter of so-and-so. I was just myself. So it was a very quiet, simple life. So part of me struggled to make this decision to come back. But I think coming back, it's really been a lot more meaningful for this chapter in my life, for my daughter as well, to learn her background or my background.
I see. And when did you start teaching naman as become a music educator?
I started teaching in Germany around 5 years after I settled there because 5 years before, I was not comfortable to teach in German. I thought my German wasn't good enough. So my first teaching language was actually in German.
Wow.
Yeah, and then I've been teaching
Ever since.
ever since. In German, it was a bit difficult because of the language barrier. And sometimes I would just say things and it was wrong pala. Like one time, I kept telling my student with the elbow, like, I said, lecker bleiben, lecker. And I thought, like, loose, don't be stiff. And she just kept saying, okay, yeah. And she was smiling. Yun pala, I was saying delicious. Lecker is delicious. So parang, stay delicious. And it's loka. The word is loka. And then I thought about it. I'm like, why did she correct me naman? You know? But that way, you start the learning process both ways, right? So I could teach them piano, and they somehow gave me a chance to exercise my German and correct my German sometimes. Yeah.
But so as a music educator for a long time as well, what's the most important lesson that you want to impart to your students?
The gift of music, the magic of music, the purity, the enjoyment, the appreciation, the respect, no matter what level of talent you have, what level of discipline you have, you can always benefit from the gift of music, from using your senses, your sense of hearing. You develop your sensitivity. I mean, sometimes we see things, we feel things, we taste things, but to really listen. And then you don't just listen to music, you listen to everybody, you listen to the world. So it's all about listening to yourself, also finding your individuality in the music, understanding the essence of music.
They say nga that music is a universal language, no? It speaks for everybody.
Yes, maybe the world will be a better place if we just play music. That's why I love chamber music, because it's really connecting, and you know, you can be fighting, you can have disagreements, but when you play the same music and you're in harmony with each other as much as possible.
Wonderful. And do you have a dream project as a musician? Another thing that you want to achieve on your musical journey?
It's more to keep on going, doing what I'm doing, and having the energy and inspiration to do that, and to reach out to different people, different groups, different parts of society. I want to continue my work in Sunshine Place and reaching out to the seniors, because I think it's a great comfort to give them the gift of music. But my dream is also to bring it to children, to Filipino children, because I really think that music needs, classical music can really enrich children's lives. And children are our future audience. So that's one of my dreams, is to go to different schools and present music, even if you have a crowd of 1,000 and only 2 people will become professional musicians later on because of the concert that they saw. That will be something very, very rewarding. I mean, Rowena Arrieta is back here now. And I remember so well, it was grade 7. She was a guest in Assumption, and she performed. And I lined up like to ask her a question, and I just said, how many hours do you practice a day? And she said, 8 hours. And I was like, wow. And parang, that was like inspiring for me. Of course, we need funds and we need interest from the schools. I've actually tried to approach different schools, but it's difficult for them. They all have their own schedules. They're very busy with other priorities. But that would be a dream, actually, for me, to touch children with music so that they can be enriched.
Wonderful. And before we finish our program, do you have any upcoming events that you can invite our listeners and viewers to?
The one that's very close to my heart is my own concert series in Sunshine Place. It's called Classics and Sunshine. It's an international series this year. And the second concert is going to take place June 21. It's four-hand program with Germany-trained pianist, Dr. Abelardo Galang II. And then in August, I am inviting my Korean friend who I played with, one of my first chamber music partners in New York in high school. She's based in Hong Kong. And so she's coming over to do a cello piano program with me and also some master classes with that. And in November, we've got Vian Ignacio, who is a talented
Yes, we've
harpist.
had her in our show as well. Yeah.
Yes.
Very talented harpist.
So I'm excited about the series.
And where can they get tickets to the series?
They can contact me for tickets.
Okay.
0917-709-2255 if they want to subscribe to the series.
Okay, wonderful. Maraming salamat, Mariel, sa pagdalaw mo sa amin sa hapong ito. And of course, we wish you all the best in your endeavors.
Maraming salamat din po sa inyo. And it's wonderful that you can bring the arts, different communities, different artists, kinds of artists to the public to
Well,
have
that's
more
our job here in
appreciation.
Art to Art.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you also. Hanggang sa susunod na linggo, samahan ninyo kami ulit dito sa Art to Art, kung saan ang usapang sining at kultura ay para sa lahat. Ito po ang inyong balerina ng bayan, Lisa Macuja Elizalde, nagpupugay sa artistang Pilipino.